Hello, everyone. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I will help you live fearless, live loved, and live free. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. And make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when all my videos and content come live. And today I have Michelle back with us for our monthly empowerment session that is posted on the 15th of every month. Today, we're going to talk about the topic of the 5 steps to reboot your confidence in your twin flame journey. And I think now's a really good time to do that, as I've just stepped into more of that twin flame alignment and reunion, and also my mission. I know a lot of people are having doubts in the idea of true love, and are they going to have this experience? Are they going to they're basically losing confidence in the idea of this journey and themselves, and that the true love exists. And so I'd like to, in this empowerment session today, bring forth the concept and the idea for you to think about that journey starts inside of yourself, as far as your ability to be empowered and confident with you, your abilities, and how to maneuver your own journey and your own truth. So welcome, Michelle. And I can't wait to share with them these 5 steps.
Yes, thanks for having me again. Yes, and these are the 5 steps that I created for myself. When I didn't really create it for myself. These are the 5 steps I went through to reboot my own confidence throughout my twin flame journey. So I know it works because it took me, it's taking me where I am today. So I'm excited to share those steps now. And I don't know, do you want me to go ahead and start there?
Absolutely. Let's just jump right in.
Okay. So they're very simple. And I feel like in terms of confidence, we get in our own way. All of this journey is about self-love. We're finding our inner love for ourselves, and then that manifests on the outside. But we get it on our own way by not taking action on the simple things that would increase our confidence and our self-love. I know for myself, I spent a lot of time, what I would say, imagining or lusting, but not really bringing it onto the 3D world. I wanted to stay in the 5D where I know that connection was there, but I wasn't willing to make the changes on the 3D. And so those 5 steps are standing accountable. And I'll break each one of these down, but just go ahead and name all 5. But standing accountable, getting ambitious, being aware, developing acceptance, and taking action. And those 5 steps are not do 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, steps 5. They're 5 that are constantly intertwined with one another. But I will start, when we're talking today, I'll just go through each one individually. But for anyone listening, it's not like a cookie cutter. It's these 5 things that are constantly going to intermingle with one another.
Yes. And I love how you mentioned this multidimensional concept, because a lot of people think linear or process linear or think in these steps. So even though we're presenting them as steps, yes, they are multidimensional. So yeah, let's just jump in and talk about them individually and help everyone be able to come into more alignment with their confidence. And I do have to say one more thing that's coming through as I say that. I've heard you, Michelle, talk a lot about heart confidence, and this is shifting from head logic to heart language as we talk about this. So I want invite people to think about getting out of your head and moving into your heart. And that's where you're going to gain the confidence, is from within your heart.
Yes, totally. And with these steps, I think for me, and I can only speak for my journey in terms of helping others, what I was most attracted to about my twin were things that I really wanted for myself. And so the stand accountable, the first step, I really liked that my twin had a business. And so when I look at that, there was a chasing that I was doing, chasing people that had business and want to work with them. But the reality is the accountability, I wanted a business. I wanted to be my own leader. So I used the outer reflection to come back to myself. So standing accountable, okay, it's not, you admire that outside of you because you want it internally. So what's your story? My story, I had to look at the positive and negative stories. So standing accountable, somebody else can have some of my stories where somebody else can do it. I can't. And that's just not true. So I had to shift my story to, I can be my own business leader. You know, I can be my own employer. I can create, even down to like negative stories like, oh, they're not picking me because of the way that I look. Okay, that is something that I have to make a decision. Is my story that I'm not attractive? And that's even something, I think one thing that's really important with all of this is to realize that there's no end game. Like, you're not going to do these 5 steps and get a twin and then be done. Like, I'm in this process right now. I got into a story of, I can't lose weight and it's too hard and it's not my thing. Like, I'm just here. And that's a really like pessimistic story. And I've got to shift my story to, I can lose weight. I have to start tracking. I have to do these things. Just shifting, like, what is the story I've been telling myself, and does that serve me? So that's like a current issue for myself right now, where it's like, okay, I've got a negative story and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And I just want to say something. It's like, you must have been in my head this morning taking a walk and everything that was coming through and teaching people how to step into reunion and what that dance looks like on the inside. And I came back and mapped out a combination of the top 3 things that helped me magnetize my twin flame. And also on the flip side of that, 11 ways that we technically make that work going forward. And so in that, you are totally right. These steps that you're talking about are not steps you get to an end game. These steps are what you have to learn to do that dance with your twin flame.
Right, you're never going to.
You're in reunion. You're learning how to do it so you can do the dance together.
Right. And if you can't do it with yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to do it with a twin.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's standing accountable, really taking some time to go, okay, what are the stories that I've got going on in my life? If they're positive or negative. If you don't like the negative stories, then that's my second step, get ambitious. Start creating the stories that you do want. And I use that example of, we'll just go with the weight loss. If I'm not happy, then I've got to dream up what could be possible. That I talked about in the very beginning, getting out of your own way. Like, I can't lose weight if I won't even try. So there's a ambition, like, it can happen. I'm worthy of that. And just letting yourself dream of what you do want. Back in the very beginning with my twin, rather than focus on his business, what did I want to do? What did that look like? Down to like the room, like, you know, down to sitting and like practicing. I know Harmony, when I worked with her, she would say, just sit in front of your screen and be there until somebody shows up. So there's this ambition of like
space for what you want.
Yes. So like actually allowing yourself to dream outside of the box. If you don't dream it, I mean, that's like Field of Dreams just happened in the news. I don't know if that White Sox, I think, game. And it's like, if you dream it, they will come. So you have to let yourself imagine a possibility that doesn't exist right now and believe you're worthy of it. And so that takes getting ambitious, is sitting down, journaling, vision boards. But really, like I said, getting it out of your brain onto paper is really important. Just sitting there thinking about what you want, but you never actually take a pen and put it onto this earth. That's important. So
there's a book out there called Write It Down, Make It Happen. And there's so much power in taking that kind of action and bringing it into reality. And you're totally right about embodying that 5D and then implementing those actions in order to bring it into form. And kind of like one of the things you said that I know was part of what brought me into reunion was that, you know, we think of everything as being separate from us in this, right? And we think we can't have this, you know, we can't be happy until we have our twin flame, or we can't, you know, feel good until we've lost the weight, right? So basically you have to make your reality what you desire before it becomes a reality, technically. So you have to then therefore become who you want to be with, or you have to take the actions or connect to the experiences that bring you the fulfillment and make you feel like you are receiving what you desire beforehand. So I started giving what I wanted. And if I wasn't feeling supported by certain people, I started supporting people, is the point. And I did it unconditionally, but then I became, you know, people started showing up to support me by supporting others.
Yes. And that kind of leads itself into the third step, which is being aware. And so you just brought up a good point of, if you want something and it's not happening, you started to do it. So it's constantly, the third step of becoming confident is to be aware, to be really present in your life and not this victim that everything's happening to you. Mm-hmm. So, journaling, documenting it, being aware, it means there's something out there, higher spirit, universe, angels, your twin flame in the 5D that's out there to help you. And so checking in, if you're, for me, be aware was journaling every day to get advice, to invite in support. The twin flame journey, as we know, is about partnership. And if you're not inviting in support, mm-hmm. then you will not receive support. So I had to practice that with guides, like letting myself be led. I know a lot of us out there are in our masculine and needed to work on stepping into our feminine, which means letting somebody, drive the driver's seat. And that's hard.
Yeah.
So that third step is about being aware, whatever you set these goals when you're ambitious, but then you've got to slow down and let support come in and guide you. You have a big dream, but you don't have to have the stairs. You just have to have the dream and let every day the next step evolve. A lot of us don't know how we're going to have a business, but we set it out there, and then the next day you're on the internet and something pops up and it's a phone number for you to, a lead. Mm-hmm. You just don't know. But a lot of us get in our own way by thinking we don't have the plan yet. Mm-hmm. And it's like, let the plan evolve through asking for support.
Yeah. And that is so true. I'm always saying, you don't get your stuff together. I'll only say a different word. you know me on the back.
I was like, that applies. Yeah. I like the other word.
You don't get your stuff together and do it. You do it. You get your stuff together by doing it. Mm-hmm. You don't get your stuff together and do it. You get your stuff together by doing it.
Right.
And that is the only way you can do it, is what you're saying, is being present and being in that now, paying attention and being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your alignment of your confidence, and alignment of your heart's desires, and alignment with source, and alignment with all the things that you deserve. But until you are present, the answers may be showing up, but you can't see them.
Right. That's a lot of clients. They're in the future or they're in the past, and they're missing the signs. I always see those memes where it's like the spirit guides have gone, I've sent her 80 signs, but she keeps missing it. And, that's because we're not present and asking. Mm-hmm. I think it's so big to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard spot for people. If you've never I just had a client this morning. I said, have you literally said out loud, I want help? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, why not? Ask and it can be delivered.
Yeah. And that's where I talk about, when I wrote in Twin Flame Code Breaker, the 3 steps to that is ask, listen, allow. Mm-hmm. And our guides and angels cannot help us if we don't ask, and we can't receive if we don't ask.
Right.
But at the same token, we have to stop, pause. There's power in that pause, and listen and watch and be aware. And the next step in that is allowing yourself to receive what it is that you desire. And we also got to get out of our own head of that expectation of what we think that is, because we might be missing the link and the point that's taking us that piece to get to the next piece that's bigger than we could have conceived from our mind. And that's the goal here, is we limit it from our mind. Our heart wants something bigger.
Definitely. And you had said you have to allow yourself to receive. That goes into my 4th step, which is develop acceptance. Mm. A lot of us don't even feel like we're worthy. Like, we want the twin, but we don't deep down feel like we're worthy of love. And so the 4th step, which, like I had said, you don't go cookie cutter with the steps. This is something that you have to work on every day, but it's accepting yourself wherever you are, allowing yourself to be imperfect and loving that, allowing yourself, I'm going back to the weight thing. Allow yourself to be where you are in order to improve. But if all I'm doing is telling myself how awful it is, that's where I'm going to be stuck. Mm-hmm. And so if all you are with your twin flame is, they don't love me, you haven't accepted that. you're chasing. I know for me, I had to accept that I had lost my independence. I had to like acknowledge that, whoa, Michelle, you really like, I was completely codependent and focused on him. So I had to accept that, pause, own it, forgive myself, to give myself space to become independent and sovereign. And that's important every day, practicing self-love and compassion and forgiveness. But you have to accept wherever you are in order to be somewhere different.
Yeah, totally. And until you're right, until you accept it, you can't go to the next step. And that also applies to the twin flame reunion. One of my 11 things today was accepting your twin for where they're at. But to do that, you can only do that once you've accepted where you're at.
Right.
Because you can't do for anything outside of you until you can do for yourself.
Isn't that annoying? But it's so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So awesome. Awesome. So now I think that might be people's toughest step.
Oh, it's the one that keeps me in my own way. And it goes hand in hand with the fifth step, which is take action. But I couldn't accept that it was on me and that I had to like get going with myself. I just wanted so badly for somebody to come and do it for me. And I could not accept that. And so I'm trying to think of like, if you have a bill to pay and you just don't want to look at it and you keep avoiding it, it literally takes 2 seconds to pay it and it's over. But that lack of acceptance that I have to sit down, look at it and pay it, you can't move forward. Like that's just a life example where it's like, you can't run from your problems. You have to accept it. And it's way less painful in the moment than the story we create about whatever we're avoiding.
Yeah.
So that once we just acknowledge whatever it is, accept it, that fifth step comes into play, which is take action. And which Harmony has taught me this over and over, once you've taken the first step, the next step just starts to roll. And it's like this beautiful, it might be a lot of work in the very beginning, but then it just starts to flow on its own. And so that fifth step is take action. So if you, like for me, Harmony had encouraged me to make a video and post it. And I was like, oh, I wanted to like run away and never do that. And I mean, tears and everything. And then when I I made that first video, it was like, dang, this is not bad. This is not hard. And so it got the ball rolling, but I was in my own way, and keeping myself from what I wanted just because I wouldn't accept that I had to do it.
And it's facing your fears.
Yes.
It's a lot of that is the fear, and we become more stagnant and more stuck, and we spend more energy on the fear of the outcomes or what it's going to manifest out of that, or when we face it, creating some kind of conflict or more turmoil on ourselves. But technically, by being stuck in that spot is creating more turmoil that's keeping you stuck in that loop.
Yep.
And the minute you take the action, you're breaking out of that loop, and you're breaking the pattern, and you're breaking the cycle, and you're facing the fear. And then all of a sudden, because you faced it, it dissolves.
Right.
And that's where you find the freedom in it.
And your power.
Mm-hmm.
Every time
you're taking your power back, right?
Right. And think if I had something to share, somebody would say, set a goal. Like when you're taking action, set something that you can really do. Like you don't need to we'll just keep going with the workout theme. You don't have to go to the gym for 4 hours every day. If you just said, I'm going to do 10 minutes of walking, and you actually did that, you kept your word with yourself, you'll grow in that momentum. But back to that second one where it was get ambitious. If you set these huge goals and then you fail again, you're just going to reiterate the old story. So you want to create tiny little steps, goals that you can actually achieve and build your self-confidence as you go. But you got to take action. Nothing happens without you putting it into motion.
And one of the first places to take action in that, from what I've seen, is to say yes to your destiny, yes to your soul, yes to your soul contract, yes to the journey, and just say, you know what, I don't know how to get from here to here, But whatever it is I came here to do and the assignment I'm to align with, I'm open, willing, and ready to align with that. And the minute you let go of the resistance and hanging on to whatever the fear is, or fear of something or not something, then you can basically, you're taking, like you said, the confidence and the power in it, and you're reclaiming your power, which is giving you the confidence to be like, I'm in control of this. And, as you do that, and you're able to, face that, then you're actually like moving into the alignment of like this trust and belief that's going to allow what you need for that to show up for you. Mm-hmm. But it can't until you let go of your resistance to the change. So our resistance to the change really is what we're resisting. We're creating more of it. We're persisting and resisting, and then we're creating more of what it is we don't want in that. And another thing I always tell people that they can do is go to the end of the worst case scenario in that situation of taking the action. And sometimes it could be not taking action that we're needing to like set a boundary,
right?
Needing to kind of pull back into ourselves, which is an action, but it's in a way of taking back our power and, setting these loving boundaries. Another thing I wanted to add about the acceptance that was coming through to me was, we're talking about, say, accepting where we're at, or accepting our twin flame for where they're at. But on the flip side of that, we have to also accept what's coming to us, as in being open to receive it. Mm-hmm. And we have to accept it in such a way that it's a gift in it, and stop judging it.
Right. Judging it will get in the way for sure.
Yeah. Because of the expectation that we think it should be over here, but this is showing up. And that goes back to trusting the process and allowing like it to unfold and giving it space as you're creating also an intention of what you feel and see. And I think another thing that people tend to do that's so important, is coming through right now to share. So many people I see get to this place of being stuck because they think they've done it all.
Right.
They've gotten to the end result, or that there's a destination, or like, I've already done all the work, so I'm kind of done. And again, like we started, you will never be done. This will be a dance that continues internally to find the balance within, to harmonize with everything around you, and especially your twin flame, and to put you in alignment with the true essence of the twin flame journey.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard that a lot. I've done the work, or a time frame. Like, I've been on this journey for 22 years or 2 months. It's like, it doesn't matter in the spiritual world. Time, like the way that we're tracking time, is not relevant. So these 5 steps are a continuous ball, that are always flowing. And like you said, it's not going to stop when you get your twin, because the idea of, that's exact opposite of what the twin flame journey is. If I get this thing, I'm going to stop growing. No, it's like, that should be when you really take off.
And it is.
Yeah. As coming from somebody that really knows. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to get here to be able to say it with confidence, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So any final messages you want to share with the audience?
Yes, I truly believe in these 5 steps, and why I love working with the clients, and that Dr. Harmony has so graciously gifted me with the ability to work with. These are steps, like, we could spend a whole session on standing accountable. Like, if somebody were to book an empowerment session, because these are very in-depth steps, but it's crazy. It's both simple and it's incredibly complex. The steps themselves are simple, but the baggage we bring to each one is complex. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to work with individuals, because I know I needed help getting out of my own way with any of these steps. I just needed to be able to see what the real issue was. And I had so many stories that were in the way of the real issue. And so my final just heart message is, just don't feel like you're out there alone, and that you can't ask for help. and that I want to walk the journey with people out there. I want to support you in whatever way will bring you back to yourself.
I love that. And it's so true, because another part of this is there is polarities in this, and we have to have our power and empowerment. We also have to have our grace and receive. And if we've been in that place of doing all this alone, it's about saying, I can take the passenger seat and let somebody help me down to coaching, or down to empowerment coaching or confidence coaching, to help with this, which is your feminine side, receiving. So while on one end, it's like, oh, I feel abandoned and I need to just regroup and take back my power. On the other end, it's like, there's that balance that you might need to in that moment. But, you know, you also, what is the heart of the lesson?
Right.
You know, and that's how we do the dance between those two polarities, and finding the neutrality of both sides of us from that place. It won't be one or the other. It's
right. It's always going to be a balance, and we're constantly going to be keeping ourselves in balance by, you know, staying present and noticing. But I know for me, coaching sessions were so important because I could spend months in my own way, or I could have a 1 week session and then, you know, skyrocket the next week. And that is me plugging this, because it's not a line. Like, it's like, I believe in wholeheartedly what these sessions do. And so if you're stuck, get help.
Yeah.
You know, take action and get out of your own way.
Absolutely. So thank you, Michelle, for showing up this month and giving some empowerment tips here, 5 steps to reboot your confidence. And for everyone that is watching, thank you so much for your love and your support. As always, make sure to check out all of the links below. I'll make sure to put a link to the book that is Write It Down, Make It Happen. Also a link for you to check out Michelle's booking page, and by all means, take some action if you feel like you're needing some help with empowerment. And Michelle will be back next month on the 15th. So mark your calendar and hit that notification bell so that you know when we come live with the content. And we'll see you next month, and I'll see you next week. Okay. Loads of love.
Thank you.
Thank you. May you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.